It's hot as hell outside right now, but we're here with you tonight to talk about some North Pro Canadian wrestling. As indie wrestling fans, we want to hang with you on a Thursday. So here we go. Boom, just like that. It's Thursday night and it's party time. We're the Video Bros. My name is Bobby Munson, and the man sat beside me. He's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Spokes. Papa Spokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, happy Thursday to you too, Munson. We're fresh off of a PPW show at the Berries game, and I'm looking forward to talking about that and some other Canadian independent wrestling tonight, as we always do on OLE Podcast. This is Ring Respect Radio.
You bet. Yes, threat level red from our friends at North Canadian or North Pro Canadian Wrestling is going to be the hot topic here tonight. But before we even start talking about that, we got lots to talk about from our favorite wrestling company here in Saskatoon. But someone who was at that game, we're going to be able to talk to. Basser was at that game. We saw him out there. Happy Thursday to you, Bass. Hope that you're doing wonderful. And Bass Jr. and the whole family is as well, too. Yeah. Zach Minger's up in the house. Pop Spoke saying hello to myself, yourself, and all the friends in the house. Thank you, Zach. And, of course, the Mangler here with us on a Thursday night. Our friend, the Mangler. How are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday evening. And, yes, going back to it, Papa Spoke, Saturday, it was hot. It's even hotter on Saturday than it is here tonight in Saskatoon, but it is hot all around. It has been some toasty days here in July, and we were up for a ball game. In fact, 2 ball games as the Saskatoon Berries hit the field twice that day. Those boys had to work extra hard in that heat, and what they got in between was the hard work of the PPW roster. 3 matches on a card that we call Summer Slam Jam in conjunction with the Saskatoon Berries the second year in a row. Papa Smokes, I know you got to witness it as a person watching in this time. How was the show from a perspective of a fan?
Man, there's not a lot of things you can put together that combine so well, but I gotta say, going out to the Berries field, checking out outside some pro wrestling action. This brings me back to the old days of food truck wars in the very, very beginning of PPW. A nice night in July, a hot and humid night, but that's the kind of night we want to get out and enjoy the summer. So this was just perfect. Watching a triple header from PPW Wrestling, 3 matches, but a Berries game in the morning and then a Berries game in the evening, a double header, a triple header, all kinds of sports entertainment going on in the evening in Saskatoon. I absolutely love this. I watched the matches, sat in the crowd, watched the Berries game, which was highly entertaining as well, with all the great fans and all the great people out here. I had some beer. I had a hell of a time, Munson, and this was just awesome. You were doing camera work down at ringside. How did that go for you?
I don't know. Can you tell the color difference on camera there, Bubs, folks? Yeah,
For
we
sure.
had a great
For
time. I mean,
sure.
of course, my big props to everybody in the background that does a lot of hard work, the ones that set up the ring, the ones that run music, the ones that are out there in the heat taking care of business and stuff like that. I got to give them kudos. I mean, I did 30 minutes of work that night, Papa Stokes, not overly too tough in comparison to what camera work is normally like. So pretty easy going day for the most part, other than, it was pretty damn hot out. But other than that, people who were out in that heat setting that ring up, Pop Stokes, and damn, they deserve your love and your respect for being able to put that on. Basser said made a lot of new wrestling fans that night and maybe brought back some old fans who maybe stayed away. It was perfect. It was a fun time. It really was. I mean, it was a reduced roster in the sense that, last year we had triple shows on that weekend, so we had a larger portion of the roster available and out here. But we made the most of the roster that we had, which was absolutely excellent. I'm not going to give away what matches were on the card. I'm not going to give away the winners of said matches on the card either for those who haven't seen it yet. And you want to know why, Pop Smokes? We got a little surprise for the people. Yes, the Summer Slam Jam Berries crossover over full event, edited, ready to go with commentary is coming out for you on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel this Saturday afternoon. So you're going to be able to enjoy that night if you weren't there in person, or if you were and just want to see how fun it was to be there. And the fan interaction, it was great. Even going back and calling it here tonight, Papa Smokes, what a show it was, as we say good evening to Melball Collins in the house as well, too. But
hey,
yeah, I had a blast. I love working with the Berries, the Rush. Like, they're a great organization. We get great opportunity. And then as Bass saying, like, new eyes on Prairie Pro Wrestling, new fans made that night. There was lots of kids coming up throughout the night. They were talking to Riley Cruz. They were talking to myself. There was questions they had. This one little boy, he comes up and is that your championship belt? Because we had Creed's belt was out on the table at that point in time. Well, Creed was in the back getting ready. And I said, yeah, that's the champion's belt. Okay, and who's your champion? And I was like, the big cowboy guy you've seen walking around here. Oh, he goes, he looks like a scary man. I was like, he is a scary man. I was like, he's a bad man. He likes to cheat. And he goes, well, how does he cheat? I said, he likes to use a cowbell. He brings a cowbell to the ring with a rope on it. I said, and he likes to use it in his matchups. I said, so if you see him go to try to use it tonight, you try to yell at the referee, get their attention, and make sure that it gets seen in case he tries to cheat his way out of his win or cheat his way into his win or whatever. And he goes, okay. He goes, yeah, I don't like him. He goes, what's one of the good guys? And I said, pointed at Riley Cruz. I said, that man over there. I said, that's Riley Cruz. I said, he's the man. I said, that's your man. I said, that's who you want to cheer on here tonight. Okay, I like Riley. He goes, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, having that conversation with a new fan, new kid, right? He's never seen this stuff before. It's a good time. I really enjoy getting the opportunity to, maybe we scale it back. It's a little bit more family friendly than what our regular showings are, but it's an excellent time with the people. Quick shout out to our good man Blair from the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast and one of the voices of Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. Hot as hell outside, and the boys are on fire. That's what it felt like, Blair. It was excellent. I know you guys are very accustomed to the outdoor showings in Winnipeg throughout the summer. I'm sure you've had some blistering hot nights there as well, too. And the wrestlers, it's like putting in double duty, I'd say, Papa Smokes, when they have to go and wrestle a match in the heat. And I won't give it away for those who haven't seen it and want to watch it this coming Saturday. One wrestler competes twice on that card, twice in a row, no break, no hydration break, no FIFA World Cup like rules in that matchup. One match and another match to follow. It must have been just hellacious on his body.
And don't forget, we're not going to give away the prize quite yet here, but these weren't just exhibition matches. I mean, we could have put on exhibition matches, just show everybody, give them a little idea of what goes on at Prairie Pro Wrestling. No, these matches had consequences, so the intensity was turned up quite a lot during these matches before that second game of the doubleheader. And but like you said, Munson, there are lots of fans that watch pro wrestling on TV. They watch the big companies because it comes on TV, but it's extra special when they can come out and see local wrestling, independent wrestling in their own city, in their backyard. And even the baseball fans come to a game to watch baseball, but they get to sample a little bit of the wrestling too. That's what makes it so fun. And just like the young gentleman you were talking to, just getting their eyes open to a product, a sport, an exhibition that goes on, not on TV, but right in front of them. There's fan interaction. The action is right in front of you. Some of these fans got a real eyeful this night, and this is what we want. Come out and have fun and experience something that you maybe don't get to see live in your own city every day.
You bet, yeah. And Blair says, hell yeah, I've got a Saskatoon Berries hat. Yeah. Oh, I love hearing that. I love hearing that, Blair. Yeah, one thing we were talking about earlier is the Saskatoon Berries beer that they have on hand at the games as well, too. Absolutely delicious. Always enjoy one of those. And I've got something to, this is outside the Berries thing now, still PPW related, because we heard it at the show. We heard it at the previous show. And we've said it a few times here on Ring Respect Radio. The next time the Prairie Pro Wrestling is live in Saskatoon is Saturday, August the 29th. Official name for the show not released yet. Tickets, I mean, they're not officially on sale, but listen up, Bass, because I've got an announcement for you. If you just ask nicely through the messenger way that you always go through, I've noticed that maybe a couple of sales have happened, like pre-sales. So just saying, some of the regulars, wink, wink, get your tickets ahead of the announcement because nobody's denying you. Eric stepping into the house saying, pals, I see the show length was 90 minutes. What's the ideal showtime? Ideal showtime for a pro wrestling show or 90, like, or do you mean like for a podcast such as ours? Because like podcasting, I mean, depending on how much you got to talk to, we try to keep it under an hour. On a wrestling show, I am saying 90 minutes to 2 hours, I think is right on the mark a lot of the time when it comes to pro wrestling. You don't really need a whole lot more than that. If it's a bigger event, yeah, maybe you stretch it a little bit further because you've built to a big event. But general shows, I would say, 90 minutes to 2 hours on standard is pretty okay.
Yeah, 6 matches will do the trick. Some of these matches don't go as long as some of the other ones, but generally, yeah, that's about the time frame for sure.
Yeah, and like Eric saying, 90 minutes was North Pro. Okay, that makes sense. So you checked out theirs. We will talk about them here shortly. But yeah, I'd say 90 minutes is. I thought that was a plus side for me. 90 minutes was cool. I can watch multiple people's shows when they're 90 minutes long. I can fit in more companies that way and see more different varieties of wrestlers, which is kind of a nice treat. But yeah, Prairie Pro Wrestling coming back as Papa Smokes leaves the house, leaves me here solo. I'll talk to you folks for a little bit while he's getting back in there. But yes, coming up on Saturday, August the 29th, we will be in action once again. You will be able to see all your favorite Prairie Pro Wrestling wrestlers as you get your tickets to be live there in person. Nothing beats that live show. And again, August the 29th, Papa Smokes, it is the final show before the Ring of Horrors. And you know that shit goes down right before the Ring of Horrors. This is when you're going to find out what's cooking. This is when you're going to find out what we've been thinking up, what's been brewing, what's been getting all ready for the biggest show of the year, the Ring of, and not only that, the 5th annual Papa Smokes, 5th annual Ring of Horrors coming up this October. And I'm telling you, you aren't going to want to miss this. This is going to be possibly, I mean, we've had some crazy Ring of Horrors, but I think all in all, some of the plans I'm hearing, Papa Smokes, this is going to be one hell of a Ring of Horrors, one to remember, that's for sure.
And every year, the momentum builds up to Ring of Horrors. It's like the big shows for some other companies. This is our big show for Halloween time, and the fans reward us with their presence every year in mass numbers. So you know that the rivalries are going to just heat up right before the final show, and at the final show before Ring of Horrors, you know that emotions are going to spill over. You know the action from the ring is going to be hard and heavy, and you know that these fans are going to get their money's worth because the PPW championship and the tag team championship are held by the same faction right now, the Brotherhood. And I know that the fans have got a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth before about that because the Brotherhood have used some questionable tactics to get where they are. They've used some, a little bending of the rules to get those gold belts around their waist. We've seen Bucky McGraw, the Dixie Dragon, do that. We've seen Jacob Creed. He's a smash mouth wrestler. He doesn't care about the referee or the rules. So, yeah, the fans have had some frustrating moments over the past months. But going into August 29th, and then after that, the Ring of Horrors, you're going to see what ends up happening here. And you're going to see the ultimate in PPW action come to a head in October at Halloween time at Ring of Horrors.
Yeah, maybe someone can get back at Jacob Creed and that cowbell won't be used anymore. That would be nice to see as well, too. But yeah, you could. I'm telling you, don't skip August 29th, though. Don't tell yourself,
Oh,
well,
God, no.
I can go to the October show and it'll be the big one. No, my friends. Go to both. You need to go to both because I'm telling you, if you missed the last show, you already saw a title change happen. You know a title change happened, so you never know what PPW's got up their sleeves. Don't miss this show. You'd be a fool to do so. You want to check it out, and then you want to follow it up by being part of the 5th annual Ring of Horrors. Ed is in the house, and my brothers, Ed, how are you doing? Glad to have you here. And saying, skip everything Munson says you need to see. Oh, okay, then you don't need to see PPW on August 29th, and you don't need to see the October show, Ring of Horrors Part 5, and you don't ever need to go to a Prairie Pro show. Yeah, okay, Ed. All right, whatever you say, brother. Okay, but yeah, that's all a bunch of bullshit. Get your tickets to Prairie Pro Wrestling. Never miss a PPW show. That is a command right there. But yes, we should get on with the main topic of the night here. Going to another Canadian pro wrestling company, our friends over at North Pro Canadian Wrestling. We will not remember who makes the damn clips, Ed. Like, do you understand who makes this? And you're in PPW management. PPW management. Who do you think is going to send it to PPW management? Who runs the video production for Prairie Pro Wrestling, Ed? Guess what? Nobody in PPW is going to be able to clip it themselves and send it to anybody else in management other than the guy who does the stuff. So you can't get past the video man himself. Sorry, not going to happen.
Hudson, you take another bow here. Yeah, I know you're very pleased with yourself right now, but Ed giving you a little ribbing there as usual. I like to see it, and that's the kind of camaraderie we've got around OLE podcast. You know, just few little barbs thrown in there. And on that topic, Bunsen, you know, some of the best trash talking goes on around what? Trivia night. We should have another trivia night because that's where the winners get to brag and the losers go home.
That is a good nod. I think we should have another trivia night, Papa Smokes. So
yeah, I miss it.
How about we do her sometime in August?
Yes.
Bring it back.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I promise one of the August shows is going to be the return of trivia night here on Ring Respect Radio.
That'll be fun. All right. I always like that. That's a time for a few of us to get together and have some fun with the viewers, and we always have a good time.
All right. Dare I ask my mortal enemy and soon-to-be podcast partner, El Assassino, to be on that trivia night as well, too, Pop Smokes?
Yes.
There's entertainment for you. That's what I do for the people. That's what I'll do. I will take the hits from El Assassino to get him on trivia night here with us on Ring Respect Radio. So stay tuned for that. Let's get on with it. North Pro Canadian Wrestling, Threat Level Red. One of the latest shows that they have released here on, I think, it is the latest show released on their YouTube channel. I believe they have another show coming up very soon, or that just occurred and will be available too on YouTube very soon. We did do one review for them previously, Papa Smokes, not that long ago, and seemingly enjoyed a lot of it. We've seen some crossover between wrestlers we see in North Pro and wrestlers that we see over in Island Pro as well, too. We'd see some of that continued here tonight. But before we get on with the matches, is there anything you'd like to add to, fill people in? Because it's only the second time we've seen them do something at the Tide and More before. So maybe a little fill in on Tide and More and where we're out of.
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. This show was held in Moncton, New Brunswick, and New Brunswick is one of the four Canadian Atlantic provinces. It's heavily forested and features the Appalachian Mountains. The three main cities are Moncton, which is the largest city, St. John, and Fredericton. 2/3 English speaking and 1/3 of the population speaks French. Moncton is known as the hub city for its central inland location and its ties to the Canadian Pacific Railway, which goes all the way across the country. Moncton was the first city in New Brunswick to have more than 100,000 people. It was founded in 1776, initially a town revolving around shipbuilding. It is home of the Université de Moncton. The city has been growing a lot since the 1990s, so it's been booming a little bit in the last 30 years. The main sports teams in Moncton are hockey and baseball. So we got a nice smaller city out in the Maritimes, out in the Atlantic provinces. And let's get into some action with Moncton. This show was held at the Tide and Boar Ballroom, which is the main room in the Tide and Boar Gastro Lounge, used for concerts, conferences, and dinner theater. And Munson, the more we look at some of these wrestling venues, which are pubs and bars and tap rooms, the more I want to try them and go for a beer. Doesn't that sound good? The Tide and Boar Ballroom, Munson, we could go down there, try a couple of their brewed beers, and also check out a wrestling show.
Oh, I would love it. Can you imagine if we were able to hold one in something like that too, Pop Stokes? Can you imagine being able to just kind of like have them have that draft beer ready for us at the counter right between a match, swig one back before taping the next match? I think that'd be a hell of a time to just grab them on the spot, or even to, stop mid-match to take a shot. Oh, we'll talk about that very shortly. Talking about stopping and take a drink. A little bit of that on the show, but before we even get to that, let's open the night with tag team action. We got the team of the New Revolution taking on the Durnings, father and son combination, these two teams, again, great way to start the match off. Good back and forth between the two, very well-known teams in the area. The cause of the match in the end was a distraction, because the one Durning, the son, blind tags himself into the matchup, ends up getting a distraction caused, which then the New Revolution capitalized to pick up the pinfall victory. I like these two teams. They're good for the tag division. They got a good thing going on. I like the action here. I like this placement on the card as well, too. Good opener. The only disappointing thing I'd say is the audience, because they didn't show up at this point. There was a couple times where they fought to the outside of the ring there, and I noticed that whole section that they were filming in, it was like 4 dudes sitting in like the 5th row back, and there was like nobody in the first 4 rows, and I'm just like, come on, folks. The bar ain't that far from that location. Let's get your butts in the seats and let's heat this thing up. They eventually did. Don't get me wrong, but there was clearly a few people straggling behind when it came to getting to the arena that night.
Well, for sure. And that's not ideal, of course. The capacity of this Tide and Boar Ballroom isn't huge. It's under 100 people. So this show is intimate. First of all, I like the look of this room a whole lot. They have the nice brick walls. They've got that small balcony around a couple of the sides outside. People standing up there, and everybody quite close to the ring. They also had a little stage area where the timekeeper's table was. Were the guys doing commentary up there too? I couldn't tell, or was that added in afterwards? Were they doing live commentary?
I think it was live commentary, to be fair. I'm pretty certain it was. Anyway, which was nice, because we had no commentary on the last card that we watched from them.
Yeah. So that was a nice touch, and I thought I really liked the look of this ballroom here, that they had the matches in. Just not a whole ton of fans, but the fans they had were very vocal and very into it. Now, I agree with you. I like the action this tag team match provided right at the beginning of the card. I like the Durnings. We watched them before. That's a father-son team. The dad's a big, strong, rough and tough guy.
Oh, yeah.
The kid, Bryce, small. He's not. He looks pretty young. He looks like he still might be in his teen years. So he's also light on body weight as well, and the heels were tossing him around. I mean, he took some big bumps from up high in the air because they were using strength to launch him across the ring. The Durning kid, got worked over for a long time in this match, fought from underneath, but was getting beaten down by the heels, but eventually makes it over to the corner through sheer guts. Gets the hot tag. Now Daddy Durning comes in. He's cleaning house, controlling the match. Looked like he had something going towards a victory. But the kid blind tags him, much to the chagrin of Dick the Dad, should I call him Dick the Dad Durning. Durning not pleased about this blind tag, so the kid gets back in, and oh damn it, he had more enthusiasm than his body could really keep up with. The heels capitalize from that hit. The kid gets put in an inverted body vice hanging over the shoulder. The other heel comes down with a jackhammer onto the neck. That's a 1, 2, 3 pinfall. So really just a mistake by the younger Durning boy, but it costs the Durnings the victory. And then Mr. Durning, the dad, not too pleased about this. A little bit of tough love on his son there. Told him, "You screwed up, kid. I don't appreciate that. We lost the match." We saw a little post-match promo from the boys, and yeah, the kid taking a bit of a tongue lashing from his dad. It's a lesson he's going to have to learn, and a lesson that the dad very intent on teaching the boy.
Hell yeah. Eric asked the question, is there anything better in a tag match than the hot tag? There's nothing more exciting in terms of that feel and that energy that it gives to the audience. I would say for sure. As a fan, I would say better in a tag match is when you watch a team that really gets a tag match. They know how to cut off the ring. They know how to do everything right, and they do it in an old style way with a new style twist. And I think that's the kind of stuff I love to watch. And of course, when you have that, especially from a heel team, you're going to get that hot tag, which is why that hot tag is so popular. It's why it's so exciting, because you get that good, solid heel team that's able to do a solid wrestling match and make it worth the wait for the hot tag. So, yeah, I mean, that's a great shout. Your thoughts, Bob Smokes?
For sure, I can't disagree with that. But of course, we've all seen matches where the heels are so effective that they don't allow that hot tag, and that's the real danger of the whole situation. You can't count on a hot tag because it can't always be made, and we've seen many very famous tag teams from the past just take advantage of that, using the extra man on the outside, using those quick tags, using that tandem offense. And we've all seen the Road Warriors and the Freebirds and the Hart Foundation and some of those other intense tag teams never let the baby faces get that hot tag and just take a win right there.
Yeah, you bet. So the next match on this card, we have got singles action. It is Alex Robbins taking on Dayton Cameron. This one, very decent back and forth between these two guys. A lot of like high energy between them. I found that they had good chemistry inside the ring, but then the match goes outside, and they didn't have any love for each other once this thing spilled to the outside. The referee multiple times warning them to get back in the ring, doing the count, and eventually leading to a double count out in this match, and didn't need to either. This one could have gone back into the ring, but there was too much animosity, too much heat. The brawl continued on the outside of the ring, and something is brewing with Alex Robbins and Dayton Cameron.
Very much so, and this match was a good one. It went 9 minutes approximately, bell to bell. They got everything they needed to get done in this match. The guys started out with some technical wrestling. They traded some holds. They reversed a few things. They ran the ropes a few times. I like Alex Robbins. I think he has really good babyface energy. You could feel that the crowd also agreed with that. Dayton Cameron, a pretty decent sized guy, used strength in this match and wore down Robbins throughout this a little bit. But this match, once they went to the outside, it really slowed down a lot. And I think maybe that was the intention here, but they were both hurt and selling on the outside for a long time. And then eventually getting the double count out, the ref calling it a draw. So no satisfaction for either grappler in this match, and little satisfaction for the fans here. They saw a good match. They saw two evenly matched wrestlers, but in the end, the draw is called. So nothing's solved with the in between the animosity between these two guys. So I guess setting up something for the future. This rivalry is not solved in this match, and I think we're going to have to see these two go at it again.
Yep, might have to bend the rules a little bit next time around. Maybe no countouts along those lines. We'll have to see. Up next, I think they had to reinforce the ring for this one, Papa Snokes. The return of the big man, Oni Bjornsson, to North Pro Canadian Wrestling, taking on Mayafa. And Mayafa, big man himself, too. So this was one hell of a big boy matchup. And when those two bastards hit each other in the ring, if both of them were going down at the same time, that ring shook like no ring usually does. Man, I have thought on multiple occasions, I'm like, this ring looks like at any time it could collapse with these big old boys in here. And I remember we just not that long ago reviewed Island Pro and saw Mayafa taking place in the Island Rumble just this year. And Mayafa caught my interest at that time too. Mayafa looking good in this match. Oni Bjornsson, sorry, got to get that right. Very large man, very good at cutting the promo ahead of time and saying undefeated in North Pro thus far. And this one ends after a move called the Fall from Asgard. Oni Bjornsson gets a pinfall victory over Mayafa, but one hell of a fight between these two big guys.
Oh, yeah, and you know that the fans were in for a treat when North Pro decides to put the big boys against each other in this match. And the fans had it right off the bat. They're chanting, meat, 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 meat. And that's exactly what they got. Two huge men here. Mayafa had also stood out to me in the previous match we had seen him in. Big, tall guy. Uses his weight well. Very, very strong. And then Oni Bjornsson, low center of gravity. Difficult to move off of his feet. Very, very heavy, but also able to climb the ropes and use that weight to his advantage too. So good meat slapping, good time right here. They went 8 minutes bell to bell. Wasn't any need to go any longer than that or do any more than what they did. I like the way the commentators brought up some of the Viking blood in this match too, because I recently listened to a podcast about history of the Vikings, and as we know, there's evidence of Viking visitation and settlements in Atlantic Canada, in the maritime area. So it's quite possible still that Viking blood running through some of the communities out in the maritime eastern area of Canada. And you could see that was well on display here. The guys really just wore each other down with huge chops. Man, some of those chops to the chest were just devastating looking. But eventually they battle for position on the ropes. Bjornsson knocks Mayafa off and hits the move, a big splash that you informed us is called the Fall of Asgard. Huge, huge impact with this. And as the commentator said quite correctly, you could count to 20 here. There isn't anybody getting up from that. So Bjornsson, with a big win in this, manages to put down his huge competition in Mayafa and a big win. Very entertaining for the fans. Let the big guys go at it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we had what I would say is my match of the night. Easily my match of the night on this card. I really liked this one. First of all, let's paint a picture. Covey Christ is doing a promo saying that he is upset because he feels he single-handedly had won a matchup that guaranteed him, even if just on his own, an opportunity at the it's the Pro Wrestling Ontario, the PWO 6-man tag team titles, which ended up with Jody Threat in his spot instead of him in the end. So Jody Threat got to fight in that match. Covey Christ never got the opportunity, and now he is angry, and he wants Jody Threat in singles action here tonight, and that's exactly what he was about to get. This one starts off with some fantastic wrestling back and forth between these two competitors. Really, really good. Great smack talking going on between the two of them. Loved every bit of it. And then they throw a comedy bit in it, but not a comedy bit that takes me out of the action. I actually thought this was quite fun, where they go and decide that they're going to stop and have a shot at the bar that's about 10 feet away from the actual ring, just outside. Not only the two wrestlers, but as well as the referee. They go down there, 3 shots are poured by the bartender. They all have a shot, and you know the wild child is going to get all kinds of fired up when she's been handed a beer or she's been handed a shot or anything of the sorts, and she just fires up from there, and this thing goes back into the ring. Great back and forth between these two. This was a wonderful wrestling match, and why should we even doubt it? We say this thing every time that Jody Threat is in a wrestling ring, that it is pretty much, if not match of the night, right up there for contender of match of the night, and that's the case. Match of the night right here. Jody Threat gets the pinfall victory, but well done. The true victors are the fans who get to witness this match.
For sure. I got to agree with you. This did have the best action of the night. It had the most star power, and you could see the crowd was very invested in this. And we've covered a lot of Jody Threat's matches in the past. She is awesome with babyface energy. Crowds cannot help but get behind her. She comes out with that super enthusiastic entrance, wanting to drink a beer with the crowd and everything else. She shows that she's ready for her match and she wants to entertain the crowd. Now Covey Christ comes out. As the commentators told us, he's frustrated that he's recently lost a couple of championship matches. So this is a guy trying to get back into the championship picture, and he wants to use Jody Threat as a stepping stone back to contending for the title here in North Pro. And, you know, it was a intergender match, as they call it, a man versus a woman. Covey kind of gave the impression that he was, you know, better than Jody Threat, maybe just because of the man versus woman thing. And he found out in a big hurry that Jody Threat does not care about that. Not only can she hang against any male wrestler, no problem, but she's a power lifter. She's an MMA fighter. She's got strength. She's got skill, and that babyface enthusiasm that just carries her through the tough parts of matches when things aren't going her way. She can get her mental game on, turn it around, and just use all that skill and all that strength. Covey Christ found that out in a big hurry. Now Christ dominated the first 5 minutes or so of this match, using some nice moves. I like him as a wrestler. He had a nice tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. He had a nice belly-to-back suplex, or German suplex, as they like to call them. He also had a modified abdominal stretch down on the mat, kind of not just the side-to-side one that we usually see, but he had Threat turned around and was really bending those abdominal muscles. That was a very cool hold. I like that a whole bunch. But Threat ends up outside the ring. A fan hands her a beer, and now she's hulking up from that. I love this. This, to me, is one of the most appealing things about Jody Threat is that she stands amongst the fans. She is one of the fans, and they really, really relate to her. Goes out there, chugs a beer along with all the other fans that are enjoying their beers at the gastro pub here. Yes, now comes the spot. I think you liked this spot a little bit more than me. They battle their way out to the bar. The referee follows them out there, and then just it kind of felt funny to me that they were brawling outside the ring. They didn't care about who won the match for a bit there. They really just wanted to inflict punishment upon each other, and then kind of stopped dead. Kind of looked at each other and just thought, well, we'll have a shot. You know, now Munson, you know me. You know I like to have a shot. You remember I've been out with you on your birthday a couple of times, and I've sped up the action quite a lot by getting some of those whiskey shots, and it changes the complexion of the night, no question. This, for me, slowed this match down to a snail's pace simply because it took too long. You know what I mean? If they had done this spot a little bit quicker, it could have kept the match going. But I'm not going to complain about it. It was funny. It was a good spot. It suited the match to a certain extent. So we're just going to go with that. We do the shot out of the crowd. Threat grabs the drink gun and shoots Covey Christ in the eyes with it. Now he can't see. So they've done this little friendship spot in the middle of the match, but as soon as they get back to the ring, they get up on the apron. And Covey Christ is going to pile drive Threat on the apron. So we get right back to serious wrestling action after this. He's going to do a potentially crippling spot in the match, but Threat able to get out of that. They trade a few moves back and forth. Threat hits a modified F5 type move, gets the pinfall, much to the delight of the Moncton crowd here. This was the big pop of the evening for sure. Just like our WPW crowd out in Winnipeg, the fans down in Moncton for North Pro can't get enough of Jody Threat. They love her. I love her. I know you love her, Munson, and she gets a big momentum style victory in this match. So good feelings all throughout the crowd. They're loving this from Jody Threat.
Hell yeah. No, I'd really think it would be great if we could ever have Jody Threat out here in Saskatoon at PPW.
Oh,
that would be one hell of a good time. I think you think Jody Threat like drinking beer with fans. Bring Jody Threat to Prairie Pro Wrestling. I mean, the energy in that room would be off the hook, Office folks, and you know it. I mean, I'm putting it out into the universe. Even if it's just one time, Jody Threat and PPW would blow the roof off that damn building. So let's make it happen.
And do you think she'd have any hard time finding a fan to drink a beer with at ringside in Saskatoon here? Hell no. She'd have her pick of any of the fans.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, Jody Threat could have as many beers as she wanted there in Saskatoon. Those fans don't mind sharing, that's for sure. If you're up for a party, Saskatoon and Prairie Pro Wrestling is the place to be. So come on down, Jody Threat. We'd love to have you sometime. Up next, we've got a six-man tag team action. It's the Shadow Agency taking on DDTV. And Papa Smokes, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say I didn't really pay too close attention to this. There's too many bodies in the ring for me. I don't have a lot that I can offer to these types of matches other than I made one note. Dude that looks like John Tenta in a Bucky McGraw singlet made me chuckle.
Hilarious, Munson. That's so accurate, too, now that I think of it.
Yeah, that's all I got. It's the only thing I put down on this one. Honestly, I was a little tuned out of it. I apologize to the competitors involved. Not my cup of tea, just not my thing. I don't want to say anything negative because a lot of people do like these kinds of matchups. I've seen too many. It's too many wrestlers, too much busyness going on. I don't have anything I can offer in a good voice on it. So I just kind of just briefed by it, watched it a little bit, said, there's great competitors in there. It's just not my style of match.
Sure. And sure, I have a few things to add to this. I thought the Shadow Agency was a pretty adept tag team, especially in trios here. They worked some tandem offense. They cut off the ring. They worked as heels pretty effectively. The DDTV3, am I saying that right? DDTV3.
Yeah.
The baby faces in this match. Yeah, they had some appeal as well. The bubble maker got brought out in the middle of the ring and some bubbles got shot around. I assume this is a thing that has been a thing for a while in the Island Pro, the North Pro matches. Pretty sure the fans are acquainted with this and like it when the bubble maker comes out. I'm not completely sure what I think of this. There were a few typical spots to matches of this type. The five guys stood on the outside of the ring, and one guy did a dive over the top onto them, and they all hit the floor. I liked when the big guys fought each other, Big Bobby and the Mauler. They threw some weight around. Eventually, Big Bobby hits the Earthquake's finisher, or Andre the Giant finisher, the running sit down on the other guy's chest. That looked pretty devastating. That pin got broken up. Eventually, the Shadow Agency, through some rule-breaking tactics, hit a finisher very similar to the Hart Foundation's finisher, the Heart Attack. This one called the Hate Attack. I don't know if that has the best optics these days as a name, but anyway, heals the Shadow Agency, get the win in this. And yeah, I don't have too much more to say about that. This is the semi-main event, kind of kept the action going for a bit. And then we're going to see the next match, which is a championship match.
You bet. Here it comes. It is the main event of the evening. This match scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
And it is for the Northern Star Championship. We have the champion, Dawson James, defending against Ricky Mortis. And Ricky Mortis, we have seen multiple times, Pop Smokes, including over in Island Pro. I believe it was on the last card for North Pro here as well, too. Same with Dawson James as well. This was, and I think I messaged this to you after watching the show in particular. This was a really, really strong matchup that had a lot of stuff that happened at the end of it that kind of made me go, it's getting to be a little bit much. They call it overbooking. I know that you're trying to add to the storyline, and I'm not saying we're innocent of it in PPW either. Sometimes, like, there's shit happens like this all the time in wrestling, and it's part of the modern thing. It gets to be a lot when this guy comes out and this distraction, and these guys come out and this distraction. I know you're building to something, but man, it felt like it took away from what was otherwise an A+ match on this card. Like, honestly, I think if it didn't have all of the stuff at the end of it, and it had just a full-on end finish to this matchup, clean finish, or even like, you know what I mean, like by hook or by crook, the champion wins without all the people coming out and stuff like that. I think this match would have actually been better in the end. Like, this would have been not better in general for itself, but better than the match between Covey and Jody earlier in the night. I think this match would have been my favorite match of the night had it not been for all of the aftermath. But aside from that aftermath, pull that away, and everything else involved, these are two great wrestlers that gave us their all in this fight. This was worth the watch regardless. And I'm not saying the other stuff is bad and that it's not leading to something good. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying it took away from what was otherwise one of those one-on-one matches that I wanted to see come to a proper finish, because that's what they had built to throughout this whole thing. And yeah, okay, maybe that's the key. I felt like I got cheated out of that finish that I wanted in this thing. So maybe that makes me more invested in wanting to see what happens when Ricky Mortis gets another opportunity. So maybe I was pulled into the story the way I was supposed to. And they say to enjoy the story when it comes to North Pro Canadian wrestling. So kudos there. Otherwise, I mean, it's still a top quality matchup. These are top quality pro wrestlers in the Canadian wrestling scene. And I liked what I saw here. Solid main event as well too. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're pretty much on the mark, or at least we agree completely on this match. This was the main event. This was for the North Pro Championships, or the North Star Championship. So they gave these guys the most time, and they used this time. They used every single bit of it that they got. And I liked this match. It veered away from a little bit of the silliness that had happened in the previous two matches. You could see that now we've got the top guys out here, the top heel, the top babyface, and they're going to clash in this. We've seen Ricky Mortis before. He's very popular out in the Atlantic provinces here. Dawson James, a very adept wrestler, also a big guy. He's got good natural size. He's not like a bodybuilder type guy. He's got that big farm boy build.
Yeah.
So these guys wrestled for the first 3/4 of this match at least. James was working over Mortis. He's quite a lot larger than him, so he was using that size and weight advantage. I liked the commentary in this. They appreciated James's smash mouth kind of offense. Called a couple of his knee drops Harley Race knee drops. Very, very good. That's exactly what they look like. Yeah, that simple offense that so many of the great champions have used throughout the history of wrestling. It doesn't have to be fancy springboard stuff off the ropes. You can deliver a flying knee drop and really wear down your opponent. I would go one step further and say that Dawson James was giving those elbow drops like Greg the Hammer Valentine with great effectiveness. Those really looked good. I still say the simple fundamentals are the best way to go in pro wrestling to wear down an opponent to the point where you can get that pinfall. But alas, we were not to get this pure wrestling match all the way through. Excuse me, you had the feeling that the heel Dawson James was going to heal it up at some point, and he bent the rules a little bit throughout this match, but frankly, not all that much. Didn't matter because New Revolution were going to come out to ringside, start interfering in this match once the referee went down and was unable to or unwilling to call that disqualification. Oh, the heels had a feeding frenzy on this, but they couldn't put Ricky Mortis down, and now the Shadow Agency come out. So now we've got 4 extra wrestlers competing in this match. They're interfering, all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of mayhem going on, battling outside the ring and everything. But eventually, we get Mortis versus James. They brawl their way through the crowd up onto the stage. This was a pivotal moment right next to the commentary and ring bell desk there. James delivers a pile driver to Ricky Mortis on that unforgiving stage, and Mortis comes up bleeding quite heavily from the forehead. And now you could see the seriousness of this match back. We've got one guy oozing the proper red stuff all over the ring, all over Dawson James, and now it's getting serious. And Mortis looked like he was completely out of it. Looked like James might, if he could get him back into the ring, might get that easy 3 count. Once the referee comes around, he gets in there to count that 3, but Mortis won't go down. Why won't he go down? Because he's a babyface and he's got the crowd behind him, and the crowd did not want to see him go down like that. So kick out. Another move. Mortis kicks out again. Another move. Mortis kicks out again. But eventually things catch up with him. Uh, and after that pile driver, there just wasn't enough gas left in the tank. Ricky Mortis goes down. Dawson James gets a very dirty victory, and the crowd leaves with that frustration once again. The heels just run the match the way they want to run it. They come out and interfere. They cause a huge schmozzle, which results in the babyface going down. So James retaining his title on here, but looking a little shaky in that whole scenario. He needed his stablemates and his buddies to come out and help him. And the crowd knows full well if it hadn't been for that, Ricky Mortis might have had it.
Yep. You bet. And that wraps up Threat Level Red, a good card once again. And I love the fact that we get the opportunity to chat about Canadian pro wrestling here, Papa Spokes, on the channel. I always enjoy being able to talk about some of the Canadian wrestlers that are on the scene as well, too, and sharing that with our friends around the globe. I say more North Pro coming your way in the future on Ring Respect Radio, as well as part of our regular indie reviews here. But that's going to wrap that up. Papa Spokes, anything else you wanted to add before we start to say our goodbyes?
Nope, but well, I guess yes. One thing I would like to add is that always pleased on this Canadian podcast to cover independent Canadian wrestling. And some of this stuff, I really was not even aware of some of these companies. I knew that there's wrestling in all areas of Canada, but going down to the Maritimes and the Atlantic provinces right there, it's neat to go into Moncton. It's awesome to go into PEI and some of these other areas that I've never been to. I've never traveled down there. So I like getting the flavor of a different kind of wrestling all the way down in the east. I would also like to cover more Western Canadian wrestling as well. But it's fascinating for me to see a few of these wrestlers. They work the route down there. They work through Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland. You know they're doing the whole circuit down there, having fun, making some money, hitting the pay window, and furthering Canadian indie pro wrestling. And I, for one, and I know you're the same, Munson, love to give it some coverage, love to give it its flowers on our podcast here, and just open some eyes and get some eyeballs on some smaller Canadian products that are really just working their hearts out down there. Let's give them the nod and give them some attention.
And we definitely will. And yeah, Astrid says, boo, I'm late. But you know what, Astrid? That's the best thing about rewinding a show. You can go back and find out all the things we said, even when I started to lose my mind earlier in the night when Ed came in the chat. It was a fun time. You don't want to miss it. And you can always rewind with the beauty of YouTube. So it's not a problem at all. But in the meantime and in between time, we're going to call it a wrap tonight on Ring Respect Radio. Papa Smokes, why you let that beautiful ticker do some talking down below, and you let the people know where they can find you and where you got what you got coming up next.
Hit my ticker, Munson, because I can always be found on this podcast Thursday nights on OLE Podcasts and the Video Bros Network. This is Ring Respect Radio, and I'm Papa Smokes. So other places, if you need to contact me or want to chat about anything, I am on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at Smokes_Papa, and also on Twitch, allegedly at least, at Papa_Smokes_.
That's where you find Papa Smokes. That's for myself, Bobby Munson. Ticker down below is going to let you know where you can find us. Thanks, Mangler. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate you, my friend. You can find me here on the channel doing more stuff. Of course, 11 a.m. Eastern time with Andre C. Its point of view as we talk about the week in sports. And damn it, do I have some stuff to talk about this Sunday. You're not going to want to miss out. My mouth might get the best of me come Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, I tell you.
So, Munson, as we stand right now, how many teams are left in the World Cup? Are we down to 2 yet?
Oh, yeah. The final is on Sunday. The third and fourth place teams play on Saturday, and Sunday is the World Cup final. So it is at the end.
The incumbent champions, Argentina, are in, are they not?
They are, but they can go away. They can go away. And Bob Smokes going away. I think he's going to be asking me who they play. But, of course, this Sunday it is going to be Argentina taking on Spain. Yes, Argentina, who knocked England out just the other night. Papa Smokes returns. And as Papa Smokes kind of rolls back in, I know Papa Smokes, I was telling the people, it's Argentina and Spain this Sunday for the World Cup. Spain are on the other side of it. And England and France will play for third and fourth place on Saturday afternoon. So we'll be all there to talk all things World Cup, what happened going into it, how the coach from England completely parked the bus and let us all down and should be fired immediately. All things going to be cut and loose this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern time on Point of View. You can also catch me here on the channel with more Ring Respect Radio on Thursday night. And you can catch myself at Papa Smokes every Saturday on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, calling the action of a new match, but not just one match this weekend. 3 matches this weekend as it is our crossover with the Saskatoon Berries Summer Slam Jam 2.0 coming at you Saturday afternoon on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. And yes, coming up very soon. We haven't quite got around to recording, but it is coming soon. I will be part of the Odd Couple podcast. Myself and El Assassino going to be bringing you all sorts of conversations about pro wrestling and life in general. It is going to be my worst nightmare, and probably is too. But you can catch great shows here on OLE Podcast from great content creators. Make sure you're following us on all social media and check us out here on YouTube and Twitch where we are partnered up. The Twitch side, go give us a follow, a sub, your Twitch sub, anything you can do to help support. Over on the YouTube side, you can subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, give us a big old thumbs up, and leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you're doing that, it means you're probably watching this on replay. And if you are, hopefully you've got it on your mobile phone. You want to go ahead and click what we call hype points. There is 3 of those you can give out per week to your favorite content creators. We want all 3 shared amongst the great shows here on OLE Podcast. Bob Smokes and I are hoping one of those choices is Ring Respect Radio. Let's get up the hype charts. Let's bring more people in on Thursday nights. Let's have more fun talking indie action. From myself, Bob Smokes, we're out of here. We're going to have a great night, and we'll see you in a week's time. Take care, everyone.